Hey, um, I wanted to do a video about freedom and what it means to have rights. And hold on a second, I gotta move things around in my pocket there. Um, when I think about rights and freedom, I start asking myself. Is my freedom more important than somebody else's? And then I come to the conclusion that sometimes yes and sometimes no, depending on how I feel. That's what I think. But when you get down to the heart of the matter, nobody's freedom should be any more important than another's. The things that we want to do in a free society, we should be allowed to do them. But just because we're allowed to do stuff, does that mean that we should do stuff? Like today, I was on the light rail coming home. I had my music on and my headphones on, and it was very loud because I have a hard time hearing out of this ear. So I had my headphones up so I could hear better. Upon doing so, there was a gentleman on the light rail that was able to hear what I was playing. And he said that there was some noise and spillage that was coming out of my headphones. Well, I did not realize that. But I got a little ticked off with him about it. And then I said, well, as long as you can hear my music, you know we're in a free country. And he didn't like that answer. And to be honest with you, that was not the answer that I should have given, because I should have said, well, thank you for telling me, and then I should have chose to turn my music down. Because my right to hear my music at my level interfered with his right to enjoy a peaceful afternoon. I didn't have to turn it off. I could have just turned it down. But instead, I gave a snarky comment. And I didn't get a chance to apologize to the guy that was on the light rail because I didn't see him after that. But I do kind of understand what he means. And again, I ask this question, is one person's freedom more important than another's? Are we that selfish and self-centered that we would place what we want over what somebody else wants? There should be a happy compromise. I don't believe that it should be right for somebody to tell you not to do something in a free society. I think it should be the person's ability to ask, or it should be the person's right to ask you to refrain, and it's your choice to refrain or not refrain. You can choose to keep doing what you're doing. That is your right. Or you can take it upon yourself to limit what you're doing for the sake of everybody involved. That's not buckling under, and that's not giving up your rights. That's not allowing somebody to tell you what to do. They are having a problem with something you're doing. They have asked you politely, unless they haven't asked you politely. I've known some people to yell and scream and get all snarky about it. When I was playing my music, I decided to go ahead and click on the Star Spangled Banner, which I happen to have, which is recorded live by a rock group, Kiss, which is one of my favorite bands out of very many different genres of music, from big band to swing to classical to hip hop, rock, opera. I mean, I like all kinds. So, upon doing that, I decided to change musical styles and put on Frank Sinatra. For one, I like Frank Sinatra, and for two, it wasn't recorded very loudly, so if I did have it all the way up, it's very possible that he couldn't have heard it. So I kind of chastised myself on the way home because I felt kind of guilty about putting my rights and my freedom above the other person. Now, if everybody felt like that and everybody put everybody else's freedom ahead of them, America would be a really nice place to live because, like at the dinner table, Mom used to say, if there's one thing left, don't take it, leave it for somebody else. Well, if somebody else is leaving it for somebody else, then there's something that's left over, and it makes a great sandwich later on. But when we look at our freedom and we look at our rights, what freedom we do have, not the appearance of freedom, which the government gives us in abundance. We have an abundant appearance of freedom. We have very little freedom, not true freedom, and we seem to be okay with what we have. I honestly don't think America is strong enough to fight for pure freedom. We want to be comfortable. We want to be safe. We want to go out and not get hurt. We want to not be touched by the outside world when we do go out into the world. I can understand that, but in the same turn, you cannot sacrifice somebody else's freedom for the sake of your own. And that's kind of what I was doing when I was on the light rail. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, and I'd like to find out if you've run into the same thing, where you've done something and somebody's gotten a little upset about it. How did you deal with it? How do you feel about your own personal freedom? Do you think that it's worth more than somebody else's? There's people out there that are probably self-centered and selfish. Yes, at times I have been that way. And at times I probably will still be that way. But I'm learning and growing, and I'm learning to be more compassionate toward my fellow Americans and fellow humanitarians, fellow humans on this planet we call Earth. So if you like my videos, please hit like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, because the only way we can make America a better place to live is if we all get on the same page and figure out which direction we want to go in. Do we want to go the way the Founding Fathers wanted us to go? Or are we going to grab the ball and blitz off to the side and try to go for a touchdown? I think if we work together as a team, we can still be an individualist, but we can still, as a whole, be heading in one direction for the betterment of America, for everybody in America. I'm not for hindering people that live here, but I do think that one that just moved here they shouldn't automatically be able to just obtain everything. They need to work for it. Just like Americans, their families and their families' families, and I'm Native American, so I tend to have mixed feelings on this because I am an American, and I also consider myself to be native born, My father was Navajo. My mother was Israeli. But I am, for all intents and purposes, American because this is the country that's here now. We can't do anything about the country in the past. We can't do anything about how things were. What we can do is try to make what we have now the best we can make it for everybody involved, for the children. And the thing is, there's not a lot of people that are really into America's welfare and well-being. I think within a few short years, America will be taken over by another country, and we will become something else. I hope that doesn't happen, but I can see it. I can see it going because there's not enough younger people that are involved in keeping America America. But then again, like I said, put a comment down below. Put a comment downstairs in my comment section. I'll try to reply to every comment that I get. Please don't argue. I can't answer an argument. I mean, it doesn't suit no purpose. If you want to argue and it's a valid argument, that's different. If you have a valid argument, there's a difference between just arguing and having an argument with something I've said, which means you don't totally agree with something I said, and this is why you don't agree with it. Put it down there. Who knows? Maybe I'm seeing something different, and I'm seeing something the way I shouldn't see it. I'll never know unless you tell me. This is a concerted effort between you and me. I am the person speaking to you. You are the person listening to me. And once you engage in a comment that I can engage back in, then we have a conversation going on. And hopefully things can get better. If there's any topics that I can do that you've been curious about or I can speak on, let me know. I'll give you my opinion. I'll look up some stuff and I'll give you my opinion on it. Normally I speak about Seattle because that's where I left my heart. I live in Minneapolis now, but my heart is in Seattle. Out of all the places I've been, that is the most gorgeous city. Now it's not quite as. It's tarnished a little bit because of all the residents that have moved in from other states and other cities that have moved into Seattle and crowded up the pipeworks. But, like I said, like and subscribe, leave a comment if you want. If you thumb me down because you don't like my video, just say, hey, I gave you a thumbs down because I didn't care for it. Don't just thumb me down and leave. Some people do that and it don't make no sense because they just don't like anything. They don't care if they like it or not. They'll just thumb it down because they can. And that's fine. But if you're going to thumb me down for a legitimate reason, please let me know what that is so I can make it better. You know, we're in this all together. Again, like I said, like and subscribe. And on that note, I will let you go. This has been All Things Considered because I consider all things. Have a good evening, America, and all points beyond.